So guys, welcome back to the Kirk Miller Podcast. Today we have a different setting. I'm actually shooting this from New York with, I believe, you are one of the longest serving online clients and BTL members since I started online coaching. The one and only Matt Webb. Matt, first of all, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
We said beforehand, didn't we? We joked that when I get clients onto the Kirk Miller Podcast, wasn't it Luke that joked that it felt a bit like a therapy session? Because we unpack Luke's story and obviously all the clients' story because they've come to us challenge in some way. So hopefully it won't feel like a therapy session for you today, Matt.
I was thinking about my childhood a lot this morning in preparation.
Thinking, what's Kirk going to ask me? Going to dig some holes, and I promise to try not to make you cry. But just share with the listeners first and foremost, like what you do professionally. I mean, for anyone who's followed my podcast for a long time, should know, or if you don't, I generally work with entrepreneurs, business owners, people who've very successful in their given field. So it'd be great just to share with the listeners, what you do professionally and a little bit about your family and just to get us going.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, firstly, I have slight imposter syndrome being on this show, given the other titans, but hopefully there'll be some useful things I can unpack.
Yeah.
Professionally wise, so I'm an engineering manager. My official title, which my wife makes fun of, is Head of Technology Innovation for a very large alternatives asset manager. My wife Jen will tell you that she innovates more than me, especially at home, and that I'm actually quite inefficient.
So that's like Gabby with me. She's like, other than business, training and eating and being a mess, I'm not really good at many things. So it sounds like Jen's just as complimentary as you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, she was a pastry chef, so her job was to get everything as efficient as possible.
And now she's also, her job, of course, is that she's got hands full with the next generation of built-to-last babies and the next generation of the Webbs.
Yeah. Now 2 boys.
Yeah.
One 2.5 soon. The other just over a month.
Yeah.
So we've got our hands full at the moment.
Yeah. So career-wise, Matt, have you always been in that industry then? I mean, what you're my age?
I'm 40 this year.
40.
Yeah.
So okay,
next month.
The big 4-0. But you've always been in that line of work and field.
Pretty much, yeah. I studied computer science at uni, and then everyone sort of falls into finance, and I just applied to Goldman Sachs when I was still studying for an internship, just because my roommate did. And ironically, he got the job. Sorry, I got the job. He didn't.
Wow.
And that was it. I was there from 2004 until last year, 2023.
They're a huge company.
Yeah,
right?
massive place. But I kind of feel like with my job switching over those 17 years, I got a new job, new experience every few years. So that's why I was there for so long.
Yeah. And then, but obviously you've been in New York now for how many years?
12.
Yeah. But where were you before that?
In
Did
London.
you ever? Was it always the plan to come across the US?
No, completely unplanned.
Okay.
So I grew up in Kent. I went to university in Bath, and then I moved to London after I got the job at Goldman. Yeah. And then I was 28, single, been in London for a few years, kind of getting itchy feet, and wanted an adventure. I'd considered Australia, Singapore. Actually, my flatmate and I, who you met in Dubai, Chris.
Yes.
We went to Singapore on a holiday because we were both looking at whether we could see ourselves relocating there. Yeah. But my managers at the time kind of heard that I was looking for something new, and they said, job just came up in New York, do you want it? And that was it. 2 months later,
you just rolled with it. Yeah,
I was on a plane.
So would you say your background growing up in Kent, Matt, were you a sporty kid, or was it always academic, a bit of both? I mean, did you have any previous exercise background?
Yeah, so my parents were big on getting us outside. We were always outside doing something, whether it was walking in the woods, damming up streams as kids, whether it was biking, just we're always active, we're always doing stuff. And I think that that sort of continues to this day. Like, I love being outside. I love good weather, just moving my body. So the sport that I did the most of as a kid was swimming.
Really? I hated swimming.
I don't think I loved it either.
You got prodded into it.
Yeah. The thought of getting up at 5, 6 a.m. to get into the pools were always really cold. So the thought of getting out of a warm bed into a very cold pool was just never that fun. But I was pretty good. I did it for quite some time.
So is this where the secret stamina and pace is coming from? Now we'll come on to this, of course, with High Rocks, how your running times have got astronomically quick very quickly. So would you say you've always had that lung capacity, but we're just reigniting it right now?
Yeah, I think the bulk in my legs came from swimming, really. And then my mum was really keen to get me into as many sports as possible to see what stuck. So I did everything from rugby to hockey to some random ones like windsurfing. And again, maybe reflecting back, I was a bit of a wimp as a kid. I didn't like getting out of bed on a Sunday to put on this cold, wet wetsuit that probably some other kid had been naked in, an hour before. But it was quite nice just being outside. Once you get out there on the lake, it's quite therapeutic.
I couldn't think of anything worse. I genuinely couldn't. I know there's probably some listeners thinking, "Oh, yeah, this is right up their street." I couldn't think of anything worse. I really couldn't.
It's fine if you live in Dubai, but if you live in England, as I did, just those outdoor water sports not very conducive for most of the year. I think that really stuck. What I gave up on really after school was really much sport at all. I started because I went to University of Bath, which is a huge sports focused. So like Olympic teams train there. They've got amazing facilities. So while I was there, I thought I'd make the most of it. The England rugby team would come down and train in the gym, and some actually England rugby players have come from Bath. So it's a big kind of sport pedigree university. So I sort of got into going to the gym and all of that when I was there.
So that's when you first went to the gym.
Yeah.
And how was your first sort of gym routine? Like, was it the bro splits like most people, or
completely aimless?
All right. Were you the guy that was sat on the machines just pushing a few weights, hoping for the best, and plodding along, 100%, maybe on your phone in between?
Yeah, I think I was a bit better than the guys who just went there for a chat, and you can see in their physiques these days. I completely aimless. But you're in there, you're moving, you're doing something.
It's better than nothing. And then what was your lifestyle like at that around work? 'Cause I'm not guessing, but I know a lot of people when they go to university, that's when they start drinking more, socialising more. It's very much a social thing as well as a career development thing. Yeah. What did that look like for you?
Fairly typical British uni experience, I think.
So
like
really really good at drinking.
Yeah. And I think I put on a decent amount of weight when I was an intern living in London. Because the way my degree worked, we did 2 years of study. Yeah. Then we did a year working. Yeah. So you're earning money, living in London. You're still getting your student loan, by the way.
Okay.
Which I can't remember what I spent that on, but that was not saved. Yeah. And then you go back to uni, and then you're done. And that's when I lived in London after that. Actually, so one of my best mates, he was my best man at my wedding. We went back after our internships, and he goes, "Christ, how much weight did you put on during your internship?" And I don't think it was a lot, but
what are we talking? A stone?
Yeah, something like that.
But obviously, it can make your face look a bit forward.
Exactly. Yeah. But what changed actually is during my internship, I had a really good manager who was really into his fitness, and you probably remember, it's old school, but he did something called Body for Life with Bill Phillips.
Was he a famous lifter?
Famous American lifter, basically. So he there was a whole like program with the weights and kind of 6 days a week, and what else? Like measuring portions with a fist of protein, a fist of carbs, a fist of vegetables. So I kind of got influenced by that and started going to the gym on a more regular basis.
What was the first motive for going to the gym? Like, be brutally honest here, like, because I mean, I know values have shifted, and I'm sure there's different motives for you staying in shape, which will impact, of course. But what was your initial motive for going to the gym or trying to learn about eating a bit healthier?
Yeah, purely aesthetic.
Women.
At that point.
Women.
Not very successful in London. Maybe that's why I moved here.
But basically, confidence.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I first moved here, I thought, okay, let's get into shape now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 2013, and I did another magazine workout that was Men's Health cover. Mm-hmm. So they took one of the journalists from I think it's Men's Health.
Okay.
One of the journalists who was vegetarian and kind of skinny, and they put him on the cover, and this is his program. It was pretty extreme. It was no carbs. So I used to go home, cook a couple of cheeseburgers, no bun, probably no vegetables. That was dinner when I was first living here. But I did get absolutely shredded on it. Like completely unsustainable.
So basically, you starved.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just hit protein.
Yeah. It was protein the whole time.
And then how quickly did you put the weight back on?
Very.
Yeah. So the lesson to that, to anyone listening, is when you try and fast track the process too quickly, it doesn't really work, does it, Matt?
No, I mean I looked in good shape.
You had abs for a week.
I think I did it 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And then I just couldn't avoid carbs for much longer.
Yeah.
And then
especially in New York.
Yeah. And I think the following 2, 3, 4 years after that was probably my heaviest after that, and where I was still going to the gym because of that. I still like being active, and I love going out on my bike and on bike rides, etc. But the food was
you didn't have a clue to manage your food in the real world.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what? Because how long after that period then I can't even remember. How long have we been actually working together? Because it's been.
Yeah.
It's been a while, and just share with the listeners, like, what made you reach out to me? Because I can't. That's someone you've known, worked with me before, or it's been that long. We're obviously grateful for that, of course. But why did you reach out to me, and how did it happen?
Yeah. So after that initial getting in shape, I let it go. Mm-hmm. A decent amount. I think you've got one of the my before photo is at the lows.
Yes.
And basically, it was 2018, beginning of 2018. I wanted to propose to Jen that year, and so that was my goal, to get in shape for that. And then,
just in case
not have
you
much
said,
to do for the wedding.
Just in case you said no because you're fat. I'm joking, by the way. I'm joking. That sounds terrible.
I actually went to a wedding at the end of 2017, and I sat next to Jeremy on the bus to or from the wedding, and we got talking. So when I moved to go back a bit, when I moved to New York, one of my instant friends here was Tom Jauncey. And he's such a fun guy. Everyone wants to be around him. He's one of those sort of connector people that you just, if you're friends with someone like that, you're friends with all of their friends. So I had this instant friend group when I moved here, which was amazing. They've all left, including Tom. But
but BD was in New York at the time, right? Wasn't it?
That was a few years later.
Okay.
But basically, Tom had said, "Oh, my brother Jeremy has a good trainer. Maybe you should talk to him." And so early 2018, that's when I first got in touch on Jeremy's recommendation. Obviously, Jeremy and Tom have been in shape just ridiculous. Well, everyone says it's ridiculous genes. I now know it's not, but
yeah, it helps that they're tanned.
Yeah,
they're horribly looking as well, aren't they?
That helps with the aesthetics, but
yeah.
they have the discipline to not.
Yeah,
eat
no, of course. But what was the biggest challenge? Like, because this might relate to people listening. What was the biggest challenge when you first reached out?
Good question. I think it was the purpose. Maybe the purpose wasn't strong enough. But I think going back, just that intensity. I didn't quite have that intensity, and I think you've got a picture of my deadlift from.
I mean,
a video.
Yeah, if anyone wants to see Matt's deadlift when he first started with us, to compare to what he's deadlifting now, I mean, Matt, forgive, but obviously, I'm sure you won't mind me saying it was pathetic, wasn't it?
Oh yeah,
It was literally.
Yeah, I'm sort of looking around the gym, so I'm lifting up the bar.
It was probably dangerous and pathetic, wasn't it? Like, I think you were lifting, looking left and right as you're doing it, and just seeing if anyone's. I don't know what you were doing really, but it was.
Yeah,
it was.
And that was back in the days where I sent you videos of everything, every movement, and I remember some fairly strong critique on some of them, like, don't look that way, don't look that way.
I was just trying to protect your safety, because if you are deadlifting regularly, I don't think you should look left and right too often in the middle of the deadlift. You might hurt yourself if there's a chance with that. But very simply put, I mean, Matt, I think back to when you first started. This will resonate with a lot of people, I believe. You were active. It wasn't like you were unhealthy as such.
Yeah.
You ate relatively healthy.
Yeah.
You got a relative amount of movement in.
Right.
But there was just so much more in the tank.
Yeah.
There was so much more in the tank.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like you were broken. I think most people who join Built to Last, if you've achieved great success in business, which you had, developed a great relationship, and obviously now married, but you knew there was more.
Yeah.
You knew there was more.
Right.
So what would you say? I mean, obviously the model's changed a hell of a lot from when we first started, wasn't it? I mean, when I first started online coaching, I'm pretty sure it was just me.
Yeah.
And
just you.
Just share with the listeners. I mean, the difference in delivery to difference in delivery now. I mean, I'm sure I was trying to create the workouts myself on these. I mean, I'm pathetic with tech, as it's common knowledge in the Built to Last community. But I mean, I can't even remember how we delivered the workouts. But it was.
Yeah, I was actually telling Desta at the studio earlier about how it's all evolved, and it was. We had a weekly WhatsApp call, I think just a call.
I mean, looking back, that was probably a huge inconvenience for you to actually try and make that work every week with time difference.
Yeah, no, that was challenging.
But I thought, how can I add this value? And it's not always a case of like, let's have 30 phone calls a week. It was, but I thought I was...
because so I worked for, what was it? Yeah, just over 10 years on the trading floor. Same floor for that whole time, but different teams within it. And there's not a lot of personal space at all. It's just picture a football field full of desks. You can see one end to the other. And I used to have to sort of duck round by the bathrooms for our call. quickly get off of the desk for that call. Say I'm doing it, and then get back to work. So,
oh my lord!
Yeah,
there's me thinking I'm like adding value. You're probably terrified. Say, Kirk, I don't actually need this call this week.
Because the London days slowing down as the New York days kind of kicking off. And
I had no systems back then, right? I had no systems, no support system, no coaching, no community. It was just workout plan, diet plan.
Yes.
Yeah.
We went over the food a lot.
Yeah.
It was a bulking diet at the beginning, I think. Peanut butter and cacao powder in shakes, which was good. I think maybe I went a bit overboard on that. PDF workouts.
Yes.
And then, which is the difference from then to now makes it all the more impressive what you've done in such a short period of time. The difference is unreal.
What do you think the biggest difference has been from how I first started coaching with you, in terms of my value to now, for anyone listening? Because it's not just me. I appreciate the kind words here, but I think it's a testament to obviously all the coaches, you know, all the other people that help with the delivery, but also the community as well. That's collectively all up the game. But what would you say the biggest differences from when you first started to now in terms of how I was as a coach to now, the infrastructure we have is built to last?
I think just all the people you've drawn in, it's been incredible. I mean, you, such a positive life force as it is, but I think as your business has developed, the people that you've drawn in, firstly the other coaches, then the other clients, to build that community that's the biggest thing really for me. And I think that was the biggest differentiator from when I got with you and got in shape in those first 2 years.
Yeah, because you did the transformation, didn't you? For context, Matt did the standard body composition transformation, went from adding some size but carrying fat to very, very lean, getting the ab shot.
Yeah, I did get in shape for my wedding.
Yes, you did. He looked tremendous. And the stag do, which I'm sure you Tom, and the troops you went to. Is it Lebanon?
Yeah, we went to Beirut in Lebanon.
Yes,
it was amazing.
Yes, yeah, I remember seeing the videos and it looked exceptional. But yeah, you've done the body transformation thing, haven't you? But then it's like, what next? What's going to keep you inspired? And,
right.
And yeah, share with the people listening, like, you know, how the different cycles you've gone through, because I think this is important for people to listen to if you want longevity and to have that built to last physique, mindset, confidence, which Matt has now. You do have to evolve with your milestones and your pit stops, don't you? You know, from body composition to performance, and you can't stand still with your system, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so 2018, 2019 was when I got in shape. I think the purpose there was a little short term.
What do you mean by that? Because I think people need to hear this.
Well, just getting in shape for the pictures and the honeymoon for my wedding. Then what? I think that was the thing. And then we had 3 years of complete tumult, just the world getting flipped on its head. We literally came back from our honeymoon and COVID was the next week. So Jen lost her job. She was she was a chef.
I remember.
And you know, I think that 2020, 2021, 2022 is when we had our first son. That's where I let life get in the way. Again, be brutally honest about that. When you say life get in the way, in what way exactly? And how did it affect your health? Well, I was still going to the gym, pretty consistent on getting stronger, being in the gym, but just discipline around food, just kind of... I went from an environment where I could control everything. So 2018, 2019, getting ready for my wedding, Jen was working 5 p.m. till 2 a.m., let's say. I was working 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. I had 100% control over what I ate. It was just me. So there's no one else to worry about but me, essentially.
Yeah.
So, you know, people used to make fun of my lunches. I'd go to the place, round to the back of my office, bit of salmon, broccoli, or some other fish, and brown rice, and that was it. That was the lunch every day. I was actually the pictures for some reason came up on my phone the other day, and then dinner was largely the same. So I had complete end-to-end control, and that makes losing the weight easy. I think going into the pandemic and then what happened after that, I didn't have as much control over what I was eating, and so just had to accept, you know, situations and meals, etc., that weren't really the best for me, and didn't really have enough discipline at that point to put more structure around it. So essentially, my weight kind of oscillated through those. So
even though you were in shape, it was more, you knew that your body weight and body condition fluctuated a little bit more during that period.
Yeah.
especially with the lifestyle
Yeah.
changes. Yeah.
I was like close to good shape in the summers, and then pretty far away from good shape in around
So
Christmas.
what
and
changed?
I think having our son, but I think it took me about a year to process that, because he came along, and then all this responsibility comes at you fast and hard, and again sort of changes so many things outside of your control. Your sleep is no longer within your control. What you eat, because you have less time to prepare or whatever. And I'm very, very lucky in that Jen does a lot of the cooking in our house, so I often don't have to think about that. But a lot of control about your environment just goes out the window. I was lucky that little Wiley, he sleeps really well, so I could get back into my routine pretty quickly. But then I had 5 months of paternity leave, so just a bit of kind of complacency crept in, I think, where I was off. Yeah. Maybe have a bit less going on through the day, so you get into routines like go for a coffee and a bit of cake in the afternoon. And actually, so our second son, Ollie, arrived last month, and
Amazing.
I had slightly less time off, 5 weeks off this time, but Jen remarked, "Oh, we're being a lot healthier this time off." But that was the routine. But a bit of comfort, I think, around changing circumstances, and that sort of routine throughout the year he was born kind of crept in, I think. But then I think after Christmas that year, I just thought enough is enough, and then started to knuckle down. And then so 2023 was then the Dubai event, and that just changed.
That was our 3-day
entirely.
event in Dubai, which we do every year as part of the Built to Last service, isn't it? And that was was that your first?
Yeah.
Because obviously the logistics of you being in America and our events being in Dubai and London, it was awkward for you to get to them, wasn't it? For work.
Yeah.
But that was your first event you came to, wasn't it, 2 years ago? I mean, share with the people listening what impact did that have? Because I think the difference, you just went to a totally different level after that.
Yeah, just changed. It was night and day.
Why though?
I think the community. So the community that you've built up, the community kind of helps set the standard. And I think I saw other people in better shape than me, better discipline, and then your speakers as well, the speakers and the guests that you have on the podcast and the events are just, they'll blow your mind. Like I think it was the David Smith episode that changed my mindset a little bit, where I just thought, wow, I have absolutely no excuses to get in shape and stay in shape. And then just meeting everyone else in the community. I think I didn't really lean on the community much and get involved too much before that. And that event kind of underscored how important that is. And just, great people, really kind, positive, and becoming, great friends.
How much do you think environment plays a part in the typical business owner, corporate CEO, business guru? How much impact do you think environment has on people's behaviour? Just in say in New York, for example.
Yeah, I think it shapes so much, because it just is the undertone of everything. And so, and I think it's human nature to just sort of go along with the crowd a lot, right? Like, you can understand where it comes from. No one wants to be ostracized from the tribe.
Yeah, it's connection.
When you live
it's
in
a
a
fundamental
cave.
human need. Yeah, I get it.
Exactly. And so people just go along with stuff. I know I have. That extra drink. Or
we all have. We all have. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I totally get it. Yeah. So, what would you say to people listening to this? They're not where they want to be. They know they're capable of more. Basically, rewinding you 5 years ago. What would you say the first? I don't know, first step is you'd advise to someone who just knows there's more in the tank?
I think just be around people that are better than you in any form, whether it's in the gym or social connection, and it just starts to move the needle. And I think that the biggest thing for me was my early transitions were and transformations were, aesthetically driven. And then after that, I think my identity started to shift. And that identity shift was sort of driven by the community and, just being around people with better standards that are ahead of me, and, I want to catch them up.
When you say identity shift, who was Matt Webb when he first joined Built to Last? And who is Matt Webb now? From a health, physique perspective. A confidence perspective.
Let's see. I think at the beginning, I was just someone going along with the flow a little bit. Just moving along with life, and
I would say comfortable.
Yeah. I think that's a good way to describe it. I think I'm probably a little underconfident, and now there's so many other kind of facets that I've been able to add to my life. Being a father is a huge one. Being a husband, there's a lot more people that depend on me now, and that means that I need to step up my game and be there for them as well as myself. I think I spent a lot when I first joined. I was quite selfish. My life was all about me. I got up, I went to work, no one else to think about. And then, having 2 kids and getting married, it just changes the demands, and I think it changes your perspective too. I think you start to see what's really at stake. You've got
a deeper meaning behind keeping your shit together. I remember we spoke about this before. You've got more people who need you at your best, not just in your family, but also in business. So I'm sure energy and confidence have become even more valuable to you. And this is where people are totally deluded. They think, okay, I want more energy, more confidence, but you've got to put the work in to create the more energy, the more confidence.
Right.
And that's why it's exhausting to sort of get yourself up for a day at work if you're not fit, if you're not strong. So just share with people, because I'm conscious of time as well, Matt, what would a typical week look like for you? Because obviously you've got an incredible job, beautiful family, and Matt is now at a place where he isn't just in shape, but we're going to do a Hyrox, of course, tomorrow with a lot of the troops from Built to Last. You're the fittest you've ever been. You're the strongest you've ever been. But you're also in an incredible position professionally. What does a typical week look like? Because a lot of people make excuses that you haven't got time. How do you do it?
So I'm lucky that the kids sleep. Even little Ollie, he's starting to sleep 6-7 hours a night. So only one interruption in the night. Basically, I get up at 5 or 5:30, depending on what I do. Everyone else in my house is still asleep. And actually, this is something we in those chaotic phone calls on the trading floor, we did figure it out, because what I was doing was trying to go to the gym in the afternoons. And then something would blow up, like something would happen, I don't know. My job was constantly interrupted by sort of world events, like
other people's agendas.
Like, some kind of Saudi oil depot has just been bombed. Okay, we're going to be busy today. And so I'd miss the gym and then get resentful of being at work and all the stuff happening, and
which can impact mood when you come home to your missus when you've planned to train and you haven't.
Yeah.
I get it.
And so you said, you got to do this in the morning.
Yeah.
And I think at the time I didn't really know how, because my job started at 7 when we first, so I had to be at my desk at 7. I don't know how I was going to do that without getting up at 4 in the morning. But I think the way I figured it out was come in for 7, check everything's okay. If everything's okay, my team got in at 8, go to the gym for an hour then, which was a bit weird because I'd shower in the morning in case I didn't end up going to the gym. But yeah, basically the morning workout is a
so
game changer.
you train in the morning now,
Yeah.
and then what time do you kick off work?
So a bit later now. I'm in the office at 8:30, but I managed to go to the gym.
But you still got
Get
you got to
dressed,
commute and stuff.
commute for an hour.
So,
and that sets me up for
the
the
lesson
day.
with that is it's discipline. It's discipline. You getting that done first thing in the morning, which 95% of our clients do. Yeah. And then you do your work. But surely that's had an impact on focus and energy at work and things like that.
Yeah. Oh, well, a couple of things. You know, if I've done a hard workout, especially a high rocks conditioning workout or something like that in the morning. Well, thankfully they're Saturdays, but if I've done something really tough in the morning, I think, what else is going to hit me today that would be tougher than that? Most of the time I've done my hardest thing of the day, and by the time I get to work, everything's easy. But I'm bounding to work in the morning, so I'm running up the stairs to get there. And that kind of sets the tone for the rest of the day, really.
And does that help you eat then for the rest of the day?
Yeah.
So
I go straight into work at 8:30. Breakfast is provided, which is a huge time saver. I grab that, eat, and then I'm ready to go. And then lunch is the same. And so I can fit. I used to work a kind of 7 a.m. to maybe 6, 7 p.m. day. I can fit the same amount of work in an 8:30 or 9 till 5 day now. Just being more efficient with time. Yeah.
So that one behaviour in the morning has actually brought you back more time and more efficiency. In less time. Yeah. And then you've touched on it briefly, of course, across this episode, but other than work and for yourself, what's the why behind staying healthy now?
Look, I consider myself in an unbelievably privileged and advantageous position, for which I'm exceptionally grateful. 2 beautiful kids, beautiful wife, really happy home, and a really amazing team at work. I really love going to work every day because of the people. It's really, I've realized that it's really the people that kind of drive everything I do, and the value I get out of every day. So what's next? I think what I would like to do is take what I've learned and help other people learn the same. I don't know what form that really takes at this point, but have a positive influence on those around me, essentially. Family, friends, wider community, etc.
I get it. And other than smash tomorrow's hierarchs, what is the goal with your own personal health and fitness journey moving forward?
I think get fitter, stronger, but also don't get injured. Just don't take myself out of the game. Be in the game more than out. So I had a little hamstring twinge early in the week.
Getting excited.
Feels okay today, but we'll see tomorrow. Just keeping sensible about getting older. I think I have to. You're a big Pilates advocate. I think I have to get that into my. my
you do. I
workout.
strongly recommend anyone listening to this, if you want a healthy spine, you keep your shit together with your body. I can't recommend it enough. Hate every second of it because it's that hard, but I think it's an absolute no-brainer. And then just to wrap us up, Matt, obviously you've been a part of Built to Last now for 5 years. I must express my extreme gratitude, even though it wasn't technically sort of built to last at the start. But I think you're a prime example, Matt, who's gone through every different cycle of the body composition, the health transition, the performance aspect now, the ups and the downs. And I think you've shared today, of course, you've had to evolve with your system, with the way you manage your day, the times you train, how you manage your food has changed, but the outcome's still been, to stay in shape. What makes Built to Last different, and what would you say to anyone who is thinking about joining Built to Last?
It's difficult to answer this question because there's to me, from my perspective, it is just such a no-brainer. It's the people that have come together around this program in this community that have really, led by you and the amazing coaches. I have to shout out to Stephen,
He's a legend,
incredible coach.
Yeah.
Like the amount he has taught me, not just from a physical perspective, but from a mindset, family. He's this incredible father to his kids, and he has this amazing ability to be present in everything he's doing. I've learned a huge amount from him. So I think that's just an example of what people are bringing together, I think, in the Built to Last community. And so I think to anyone who's thinking about it, you've got really just absolutely nothing to lose. And it would be the best decision you ever make. It was for me, and I'm grateful to you for being on this planet and getting connected with you. And
listen,
I've
been Vivatrack's tribe, and look, don't always get it right, nor do our team and stuff. But I think the one thing that you've seen, Matt, is we just got a constant state of improvement mentality, and we care.
Yeah,
we care, like with Stevie. I mean, you've just highlighted there. A large part of what we do is the emotional and the mental development, which is so important for the behaviours needed and the habits needed to create a great physique and drop the fat and all this type of stuff. Run fast, lift more. Right. But it's people like you, Matt, that the heartbeat of it too. I think the beauty of being in a fantastic community or environment for anyone listening to this who doesn't have a community that inspires them is you can use other people's traits to make yourself better. You can copy what they do, how they speak, how they think, how they eat, how they train, and go, how can I immerse that into my own character, my own physique, my own mentality?
Right.
And over time, even if you don't get that immediate gratification and see that result, it's impossible not to change. So
and I have to shout out Luke Bland and Victoria Ivanova, just seeing them and meeting them in November recently changed the game for me. I sat next to Luke in particular at the event, and he was telling me all about High Rocks, and I in the break I went and booked my ticket for tomorrow's race, not knowing anything about it, and his standards, mindset off the charts, and he's a prime example of the people you can be around. He's also a phenomenal human being. So,
but it took time. It took time just to wrap this up, Matt. I mean, it took time. I think that you, Luke, a lot of the clients, and this is where a lot of coaches, I think they tell lies about meeting people's expectations. It takes time. It takes time to really go to that next level sometimes, especially when you haven't, if you've got business and you've got family and children to think about, you can't just shut your whole life off and put yourself in a box to transform. A lot of people wait for this perfect time. It's fucking nonsense.
It's taken me a lot of time for everything to fall into place.
But when it does, and it sticks long term, and that's what we're trying to do. So Matt, mate, we could continue chat for a long time, mate. I just want to thank you for your time, because I know how busy you are. I pulled you out of work for this, so thank you so much, mate, and here's to many more great memories, more progress. And anyone listening to this, Matt is a prime example of it's never too late to change. There's no one size fits all, and the benefits of prioritizing your health, your training, your food go far beyond helping you look good. As Matt's testament, his career's improved. Your kids now have an amazing role model to look up to, not just from a professional standpoint, but from a physical and emotional standpoint. And I'm sure Jen gets a better Matt because of that. Even if, like Gabs, they love moaning at us every now and then. So, Matt, thank you so much for jumping on the podcast.
Thank you.
And guys, I'll see you
Been
next
a pleasure.
time. Thank you.